Hello and welcome to Lisa Horton Crafts. My name is Mary Kelly and today I'm going to show you how to create this little Christmas decor or hanger using a number of products from Lisa, including the large Poinsettia die. Let me show you the products that I used. So I've used the Poinsettia Slimline embossing folder, the 3D one. I've also used the nesting scalloped in 6 rectangles. In particular, I've used the outer scalloped edge and then the next one of the frames in. So the outer one and the next one in are the ones I've used. I've obviously also used the large Poinsettia die. I'll show you that in a minute. And I've also used one of my favourites, the Festive double layered sentiments. So those are all the items that I have used. So if we start with the backboard, this little base part here, I cut my scalloped rectangle. In this example that we're doing today, I'm using some of Lisa's beautiful Euphoria glitter cards. It's 300 GSM, so it's quite strong. So great for this kind of project. And I've also then cut another rectangle using the next one of the nested rectangle dies that I showed you. And as you can see there, I've run that through the Poinsettia embossing folder and that's turned out really beautifully. And so I'm just going to be attaching that to the front of the rectangle as so. I just line that up and stick it down. Glitter card can be a bit tricky to glue to, so you could use tacky glue, you could use double-sided tape, or if you prefer wet glue. I like wet glue because you get a wee bit of wiggle room, and I just think it's nice to have the opportunity to align if you want to. So that is our base for our little hanger. In order to add something for it to hang with, I've used a piece of satin ribbon here. Satin ribbon, or in the case of what we're going to do now, this organza ribbon is good. You want your ribbon to be quite thin because you're actually going to be sandwiching it. So if you turn over your project, and there are actually 11 curves here, hope you can see that, there's 11 scallops along the edge. So if you count 3, 4 into the 6th one, that's your central point. So what you want to do is you want to attach your organza ribbon to your back base. This piece of ribbon is about 8 inches or 21 centimetres. And so I'm counting over to the 6th one and then I'm going to lay it down like so. I'm going to use some red liner tape here to make sure that we get a good stick. So I'll stick that on there and hopefully get the back off. There we go. And we'll stick the organza down. And then we're going to loop it round. You can decide which way round you want to loop it. I like it like this. And we're going to go to the other side of the 6th scallop. And again, put down a little bit of your red liner tape and take off your back. There you go. And making sure your ribbon is as flat as possible, attach it on the other side. So about equal amounts. Remember, you're either side of the 6th scallop, so you get a nice hanger effect. Now that looks a little bit unsightly, so I've also cut just a piece of plain card using the scallop rectangle, and I'm actually going to use that to sandwich and cover up the workings, if you like, on the back of my board here. So I'm going to attach that. I'm going to use some strong solvent glue for that, and that will also help to strengthen up your project. And align that over the front. I find I can align it quite well flat and then like to lift it up and look at it from above. And in particular, I would hold it quite firmly here just where I have the ribbon sandwiched between the 2 pieces of card, because it's a little bit thicker there, so I want to make sure that it adheres really, really well. So make sure it's fully aligned so that from the front you can't actually see that little cover you've used to cover up your workings at the back. And I make sure that that's firmly stuck down. So there we have our little base, our little hanger. And actually you could not put the hanger on. You could actually use that on the front of a card without the back on it. You just use it as a card front. So now we're ready to use the large Poinsettia die, and let me just show you what that looks like when you take it out of the packet. So you get all of these different pieces. We'll have our 4 layers, 1, 2, 3, 4 of the Poinsettia, and then we'll have a few different kinds of leaves which are really cute, and then I have 3 central pieces that I can use to decorate my my flower. I tend to keep those on a piece of tape because otherwise I might lose them. And you can see here with these dies that there are actually little metal connections, and I would suggest you keep those as part of the whole leaf or flower section. But when you get these out of the original packet, they'll all be connected, so you'll have to use your snips to snip them apart, and I think this works quite well. So in the example that I showed you there, I used some red perlized card for this project, but I thought just to make it a wee bit different, just as we've gone from plain card here, I thought we would make it even more Christmassy. And we've used the glitter card. I thought we'd maybe, go a wee bit more Christmassy and use some of the lovely festive papers that come in the box kit number 2 that has been released by Lisa. And so what I've done is I've cut out my 4 layers of my flowers, and I've also cut out a couple of sets of the leaves, and I've also cut out some of the leaves in what was the flower pattern, if you like. I like to have options and see what looks best when I come to put it together. So let's talk about what we would do with the flower then. So there's a few different ways you can layer the flower. These are the 2 larger pieces, and so those are probably what you're going to start with. I particularly like using what I call the less round base to layer my next piece onto. And yes, there's words on this paper, and you could argue that it needs to be in a certain direction, but I don't really think it matters. So you're going to layer it like so, and you're looking really to create lots of layering effect with your petals. So adjust it so the petals are creating an interesting shape, and then your third bit goes on the top, and that does look quite nice. But I think just like with the sample I showed you, a little bit of shaping can really make an awful difference to your project. And so what I would suggest is that using your fingers, because this is paper from the magazine, from the box kit, I would use my fingers to gently curve the petals, if you like, and as well as curving them, I would also pinch the ends, because poinsettias tend to have sort of a more pointy end to their leaf, and so I think that makes it look a little bit more realistic. And I would actually repeat that process with each of the layers that I have here. I have 4 pieces, and as I say, I prefer to start with this less round of the larger pieces. So here are the 2 larger pieces, and this is the less round one. Also, I like to add a little bit of dimension here. So I would use some foam pads. You could also use some glue gel. So I'm just going to layer this up. And there we have our beautiful layering poinsettia. So I'm going to bring in my base that we've already prepared with the glitter card. So here is our base with our little hanger on it. And what we need to do then is just position our poinsettia, and I'm going to add another little foam pad in order to attach it to the glitter card, but I'm also going to use some tacky glue to make sure that it sticks well to the glitter card itself. I'm going to stick it up in the corner here. Hold it firmly for a second. Okay. And now we're just ready to add in our other little bits and pieces. So we've got some leaves and some sprigs. Let's add those too. Now we can also add a few embellishments to the centre of our poinsettia here, and Lisa has some lovely gems, and you can choose the ones that you think work best for you. And the final part of the project then is just to add the sentiment over here. So I've chosen the same sentiment as I had on the sample that I showed you. So these are from the Festive double layers sentiment. I've stamped the Santa's on his way sentiment in a quick dry green ink onto white card. I then layered it onto a green card to match the leaves, And rather than use a traditional green leaf behind the sentiment, I've actually used those paper leaves, the pattern from the flower, and to kind of bring it all together. You could add more gems there to bring it up, but that's our little project. If you've enjoyed this project and you'd like to see more Elise Horton demonstrations, please subscribe to the channel and click the bell so you will receive notifications of any new projects coming up.